a quarter of the world's population is now living under some form of lockdown due to coronavirus. More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home. There are now more than 450,000 recorded cases of the virus globally, but we know that testing is not readily available in many places, so that number is likely to be much higher.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
You must stay at home, because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households.
The great fear is if we don't get our response to coronavirus right, Australia could experience the hell Italy is currently enduring. With around 50,000 confirmed cases and more deaths than any other country, including China.
Nobody expected this. Nobody thought they'd be treating so many so quickly. All the medical staff urge other nations to see what's happening and lock their nations down. Here they're calling it the apocalypse. And this is what it looks like. And their message to us is simple. Get ready.
This particular virus, it happens in different stages, as you said. You get better before you get worse. So in my case, the first stage was I had the cold. Just a common cold. My nose was stuffy. I had ear problems, sinus problems, that sort of thing. But then you get better before you get worse. So I was getting better, and that's when I got hit with the flu. I was stuck in bed. I had a headache. I just generally feeling unwell. I was getting better from the flu, and that's when I got hit with pneumonia. Now, the pneumonia, I've never had that before, so that was quite serious for me, and that's the point I went to hospital.
后来慢慢的烧得高了，最高的时候达到39.4度，有时候39度，有时候38.9度，所以发烧是最狠的。
Because I woke up in the middle of the night and I was disoriented. I wasn't able to breathe.
I had a very high fever. I also had started to pick up a dry cough.
Entra dentro di te, si impossessa di te e ti prende.
I think instantly you know it's not flu just from the fever. I think the fever's up to 40 degrees and slightly higher, which for me was very uncomfortable. You feel like you've been in a car crash or you can't really move at all. And within 3 days, you're unable to breathe unaided, lungs completely taken over.
The number of people who have died after testing positive for COVID-19 in UK hospitals has risen now. That total stands at 9,875.
And it seems likely the death toll will rise above 1,000 in terms of new cases each day.
The number of dead in New York is climbing and the morgues are running out of space. Bodies are now being stored in refrigerated lorries parked outside the city's hospitals. This is another victim of coronavirus. Another number to add to America's growing toll.
We just heard now that Italy's death toll has now topped 10,000. Now we have more than nearly 900 dead just today here in Italy. And yesterday it was a very, very grim milestone. It was the largest number of deaths in one day, nearly 1,000 deaths in one day. That's the largest for any country in a single day anywhere in the world since this whole thing started.
Anyone If anyone is thinking of taking any chances, just take a look at me. I'm in the intensive care unit. I can't breathe without this. They've had to sew that into my artery. I've got cannula. Another cannula and a catheter.
It starts with a cough, a very dry cough, and if you're like me, it'll make your throat sore. You start to feel generally crappy, and then you'll find your lungs will tighten. Not being able to breathe properly, temperature, sweaty, clammy, but freezing. My spine hurts, my back hurts, my neck hurts.
I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Millions of Americans have been told that they should now wear a face mask in public following new medical guidance on coronavirus.
The US now has nearly 250,000 confirmed cases.
It's very important that everyone strongly follow the guidelines.
We cannot relax our discipline now. If we do, people will die.
With Victoria and New South Wales pushing for a lockdown of all non-essential activities, including businesses. So no going to restaurants, no going to pubs. That would be enforced.
A horrifying death toll in France. More than 1,000 dead in the past 48 hours. France now emerging as one of Europe's new hotspots. Leaders there expected to expand the lockdown.
Today, 2 nurses lost their lives to the virus, with each leaving behind 3 children.
Sadly, this virus continues to claim lives of those who are trying to save them. A beloved nurse in New Jersey has fallen victim now.
The numbers are pretty staggering. Over 3,000 healthcare professionals infected in China, over 4,000 in Italy, over 5,000 in Spain.
If NHS staff need to be tested, then by the end of the month, they will be able to be tested.
Coronavirus infections across the world passed the 2 million mark as of this morning, with the death toll rising fast, now almost at 120,000.